Oh, here we are again. I'm sure you are sick and tired of hearing about pegs. But you're going to have to suck it up because that's all that's on the menu today. After UST's spectacular collapse and Celsius's painful mea culpa that extreme market conditions had necessitated a freeze on customer assets.
The Iceman cometh.
We cannot simply make like Elsa and let it go. No, today we're going to look at USDD, or Justin's Folly, as some are calling it. We'll look at stETH and why calling it a pegged asset is influencer folly. And we'll look at the latest round of FUD surrounding USDT, or Fool Me Twice, as nobody is calling it. And if you're pleading for relief from all this verbal vomiting, I'm afraid you're out of luck.
A condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy.
All of that coming up after this. DeFi Saver is an all-in-one dashboard for creating, managing, and tracking your DeFi positions with automatic liquidation protection and leverage management options. The famous DeFi application is now live on leading Layer 2 networks, Optimism and Arbitrum, with its signature boost and repay features enabling one transaction asset leveraging. The long-awaited launch on L2s brings drastically lower transaction fees to users looking to long or short DeFi assets and manage their assets using Aava. The DeFi Saver team is working on expanding protocol support on the newly supported networks with Layer 2 native ones and traditional ones like Maker and Compound. Unique DeFi Saver features like Recipe Creator, Automation, and Smart Savings Dashboard will be rolled out to Layer 2s in the coming period as well. Explore the powerful DeFi management toolkit, now live on Layer 2s. When you shop for plane tickets, you probably use Kayak, Expedia, or Google Flights. So why would you limit yourself to just one exchange when you trade crypto? To make sure you're getting the best possible price, you should use a DEX aggregator like Matcha. Matcha routes your orders across all the various DeFi exchanges on Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, BSC, Phantom, CeLo, and Optimism to provide the best possible prices without taking any commissions. Matcha has integrated fiat on-ramps so you can buy directly with your credit or debit card and uses smart order routing that splits your order across multiple liquidity sources. With Matcha, you can make limit orders on chain so you can set and forget your DeFi trades, and now Matcha even offers gasless trading. Head over to matcha.xyz/Defiant and connect your wallet to start smarter with Matcha. So let's start here, the stablecoins.wtf terminal, a great new resource for tracking stablecoin data. USDT, well, it's still the big daddy with a $71 billion market cap, but USDC is slowly but surely closing the gap. And given the continuing lack of clarity around Tether's reserves, I think it's now only a matter of time before USDC becomes the institutional stablecoin of choice. Now, we covered the three main pegged stablecoins in another episode, which you can find there, but it's interesting to see yet more FUD emerging around USDT as the contagion from the Celsius story continues to be felt. So here's the skinny bob. Tether was an early investor in Celsius, leading their first $30 million equity round in June 2020. And doesn't it sound quaint thinking about 2020 now? So that was a $10 million investment, and that probably doesn't sound too excessive, but just 7 months later we learned that Tether loaned $1 billion to Celsius. 1 billion. Yes, you heard that right, $1 billion. In a Bloomberg report, founder Alex Mashinsky was quoted as saying he pays 5 to 6% interest on that loan. So, knowing that, it would seem natural to be alarmed about the potential knock-on effects of Celsius on Tether. But the good folks at Tether, as they're wont to do, issued a soberly worded response, which is so brief, it's almost laughable. While Tether's investment portfolio does include an investment in the company, representing a minimal part of a shareholder's equity, there's no correlation between this investment and our own reserves or stability. Also, Tether lending activity with Celsius, brackets, as with any other borrower, has always been over-collateralized and has no impact on our reserves. And as is always the way with Tether, we find ourselves mulling a simple question. Yes, but can you prove it? For the longest time, the collapse of Tether was seen as both inevitable and a giant vomiting purge necessary to restore some semblance of credibility to crypto. And as someone that ate 10 Big Macs in 2 hours, I know how important that vomiting is. Tether death, it would seem, would reduce all to dust. And it's interesting here to read the original Celsius investment press release. They were crowing, what's the right word? They were crowing, they were celebrating the fact that Tether was cited as having a 90% market share, as if that was a good thing. Now, if Tether had collapsed back then, it really would have been catastrophic, but the market dominance is now only 7.2%. And there is a credible competitor in USDC ready to take on that market share, although it's probably a healthier situation if there are more larger players that were to absorb the fallout, BUSD, for instance. But for the moment, Tether remains very much pegged to $1, despite mild FUD around Binance delisting USDT margin futures last week. Now, if we head back to the stablecoins dashboard, you can see orange warnings lit up for USDN or Neutrino, the Waves-backed algo stablecoin, which has slipped to 95 cents. And let's be honest, was anyone surprised? USDD, the recently launched Tron DAO stablecoin, is also orange. Now, we covered this in detail a few weeks back, and you can find that video there. But suffice it to say, given the similarity in design to UST, confidence in USDD is clearly low. Oh, and while we're on the topic of algo stablecoins, if you're interested in that side of the pond, I had a really fascinating chat with Sam Kazemian from Frax, which will be going out this Friday as part of our head-to-head series. Frax has remained resolutely pegged to $1 throughout this and the UST collapse. USDD, though, slipped as low as 97 cents earlier today and is battling now to stay above 98 cents. The Tron DAO yesterday announced 700 million in USDC to defend the peg, claiming the collateralization rate is nearly 300% now. No, it's not. It's actually 247% now, according to the, what did it say? Oh, transparency. I don't know what that means. Section of the USDD website, but it does look like his most excellentness of excellent share, Sir Marquis Viscount, Justin and Chums will have a battle on their hands to keep the peg afloat. The Tron reserves were a big part of the make weight for the peg, and the Tron token itself has been completely decimated along with everything else. Justin gleefully announced that they will deploy $2 billion to fight the shorts on Binance. Oh wait, no, it's $2.5 billion. And wouldn't it be nice to just have that in a briefcase in the corner to deploy, just to defend a peg? Imagine what else you could do with $2.5 billion rather than propping up an ill-conceived copycat vanity project. Oh well, good luck, Justin. Many more battles ahead, most likely. And finally, to the quote-unquote, quote, not a quote. Is it a quote? Not quite a quote? Well, yeah, depegging of stETH. Now, we'll cover this properly tomorrow, but suffice it to say that stETH isn't actually pegged to ETH. It's a token representing a claim on an ETH that's locked up on Lido's staking platform. There isn't actually any pegging mechanism other than rational economic actors, and if you want to know what that looks like, we should bring Alp, who is a self-proclaimed economic actor, in front of the camera, but we won't do that because it might shock the ladies out there. His hair is ridiculously long. So these economic actors should see this as playing the arbitrage game. One ETH is redeemable for one real ETH token, but, and here's the rub, you will only be able to do that when the merge is sufficiently delivered for those claims to actually be made. Until then, all them ETH, well, they'll be locked away. And that is how Celsius got into trouble in the first place. So, if stETH is at a discount, it's because the secondary market has decided the value of a liquid asset and the potential yield on that stake should be discounted at X%. But like I said, we'll cover that tomorrow. No peg at play, no peg at risk. It's a different tale, and no pegging jokes here. Not that kind of platform. Oh yeah, one last note on Celsius. This is the address believed to be associated with a maker vault opened by Celsius. $280 million in debt with 17,919 WBTC at risk. Now, were Bitcoin to drop to 22,584, this whole position would have been liquidated, and that was yesterday. They have now since topped up the collateral, bringing the liquidation price down to 16,852, which looks like it could be safe. And that's a good thing too, since Bitcoin is currently trading below the price they would have been liquidated at. And that would have been painful. But The question is, will this new price, 16,852, prove too juicy a target for the bears to aim for? I guess we shall find out. That's all for today. More on stETH tomorrow, but we will stay on the market story as it evolves nonetheless. Stay frosty out there.
And I've come to make your life a living hell. Prepare for a bitter harvest. Winter has come at last.